Hi, this is Coffee signing on. I'm in a rather awkward position right now with my health. I threw out some moldy houseplants, and what I more or less think has happened is that's affected my immune system somehow. The reason why I think this is that I've got a sore throat that just comes and goes as it pleases. When I look down my throat, I don't see signs of strep. I see milky whitish stuff, which is indicating a yeast infection. That's when the yeast in your own body just decides to go after you because you look tasty and your immune system doesn't work right. This is happening every 1 or 2 weeks. Since it comes and goes, it's very inconsistent. I'm still getting things which are like episodes of not thinking well or rationally. I work as a temp in a factory. I'm basically an assembly machine or an inserter, depending on what's needed. So I keep papers with numbers and I see how fast things fill up. And I'm seeing things fill up inconsistently, which is very bad. It's almost better to be slow. Inconsistent can indicate that you're playing games. I've had to talk to my boss about this, and I'm at the point where, because of the mold, I did not figure out how to do insurance this year. It was simply costing too much to get it independently, and I missed an important deadline, my temp agency, where I could get it. I'm still going to a doctor. I've given this a week. I've tried the home remedies. This is at the point where it will affect my channel, whether I like it or not. Because I'll come home and be in the mindset of playing a relaxing game on a challenge run that ought to take 40 hours, and I'll make a math mistake. I can still get good footage in 2 to 4 hour bursts. When I try and play a long session, there are two things that are killing me. One is simply being inexperienced, playing the game at a high level and while healthy. Here's what I mean. This is what I can come up with in a free play game for an assembly machine. This is balanced and will nearly fill an entire line in a very compact space. I like it a little bit. Somebody who has been playing Factorio for years will have sets of blueprints, right? And my stuff is all weird, random things from C Block and whatnot. I've only just started to do that with space platforms because my brain was slightly fried from mold. I still managed to launch a rocket in 8 hours somehow, but search me as to how I pulled that off. I think it was just because I had experience doing it in Factorio 1.0, to be honest with you. This puts me in a bit of a spot as a creator, because I go through, I try and do this thing very, very quick. I'll have something happen which makes me stop and take a breath, because it's quite an accomplishment and I've never done it before. I'll also have things happen where I'll simply lose my temper because I've never done it before. That is something where, if it's in a longer format or an episodic format, where I'm just showing highlights from a game which is played at a more comfortable pace, I think there's something people can enjoy, rather than somebody burning themselves down and burning themselves out. And that's the stuff that I can live with. The stuff that I can't live with is that somebody gave me some really solid advice. They're a newer player, and they had a great idea. It saved my butt at a particular moment, and I could tell it was them, and I want to give them their due credit for it. That happened on video, and it's going to show up because that's some of the good footage I caught. I still have some that I can edit in spite of my health. But before I did that, I shot a whole section of footage that I'm cutting and throwing out because I combined it with a bad idea of my own and ended up wasting some very expensive equipment doing that in a way that simply by combining these ideas, it came out as worse than a joke. And that was part of a reshoot. The other part of the reshoot is something that, if I can help it, you won't see. Every channel goes through its growing pains. My growing pains are with audio right now. Part of that is because if you go back and watch, you'll realize that my ears were messed up, and I had no idea what a good sound was. And that's something which is going to be a growing pain going forward, and it sucks to suck, and I'll suck for a while. It is what it is. That I can live with. The thing is because of one of these health episodes, I forgot how to set up my mic physically correctly on the same section of video that I did something rather foolish. And every time there's a pop or a crack that shows up in the audio, I have to manually remove it or trust that software will do the same. And correctly. I'm using free and open source software to do all of this. So that's a big maybe. On top of all of the things with coming and going, I'm in a position where, as a creative person, a creator, it's all cooking, and I shouldn't let my mistakes leave the kitchen. But with the amount of mistakes I can make, it's nearly inevitable that that will happen. So I need to figure something else out in the meantime that will take up space while I figure out how to close out that Rush to Space second run. I think it's viable to do those 3 achievements in one run if you have enough skill. and if you've played the game once or twice. But you might be reloading a lot to do it. I'm simply not in a position where I can show a good route to success. I can explain it. Basically, go for tank and roboports early on Novice. Then you go to Vulcanus, because you can manage the demolishers and get a large quantity of steel. At which point, you can make a space platform that will start to be able to do basic logistics. Next, hit Gleba. The reason why you don't go to Gleba first is because of the steel situation. When you're doing Rush to Space, you don't get beacons. So you simply can't make enough of the stuff, as far as I can tell, without modifying map settings. A speedrunner might just go straight to Gleba. And if I make 20 or 40 hours of footage, I might misrepresent that and get called on it. I would rather just say it based off of what I'm seeing here. If you adjust the map settings, you might be able to go straight to Gleba while making a space platform and get a lot of the requirements for a kilo, and then follow up on Vulcanus. Regardless of which of those routes you take, the last place you want to hit on a Rush to Space run is Fulgora. And that's where I made a rather obvious error in not even looking at the recipes for scrap recycling and heading there. You need about 100 items per second on Fulgora. Stacking, which you get on Gleba, will let you stack a red belt using miners to the required size. And if you clear Rush to Space anywhere else, you'll have beacons. You do it Fulgora after Vulcanus, you'll have a miner that moves at an incredible rate combined with a beacon. That's what I'm seeing. After that, it's a kilo. And the detail to work out is whether or not you can pull the thing off with nuclear power, or you have to go for fusion. Otherwise, I'm not seeing anything that makes it particularly impossible. Quality plays a difficult role that I would have to experience, because for all of its promises, it will not deliver huge results without beacons. You simply don't get enough of it while you're doing the Rush to Space achievement. There's not enough research being done. There's not beacons to push things forward as fast as they need to go, which is where you'll get a doubling effect from having quality. That's all there is to it that I can see. Because a miner without quality moves the same rate as a miner with quality. But a quality beacon is going to massively increase the speed of that miner. It should also give you access to better power logistics. That's what I see. And for this run in particular, that's not necessarily an advantage because those technologies are not available. I feel like if I don't say that, I misrepresent what I see as the advantages of quality. And one of the things that I might just do is a free play at whatever pace to build some stuff up and just get experience. I feel like the first time through, that's what I tried to do, but I just didn't have the mind because of where my health was. I didn't have quality anything at 100 hours in. It was insane. Could get to virtually the same place I was, even moving slowly, hours ahead of time. It's a frustrating position to be in. I wish that this wasn't how I got on YouTube. At the same time, I at least need to film this stuff for my own health, just to see where my mind is on a given week. If I'm happy with the results, something's probably wrong, because I'm a rather critical person. That's a bad joke, but there's some truth to it, right? So that's where it is. I've got no script. And, this is what I came up with today. I'll work on getting to a doctor, and hopefully things will improve. But stuff happens and you deal with it. This is Coffee signing off.